Welcome, folks, to another edition of Lunchtime Live. My name is Leah. I am the curator here at the museum, and some of you may have joined us several weeks ago when we talked about this Rehab beaver that we had taken in. He came to us, 2 months ago from the town of Tupper Lake. He was found really skinny and injured in the town park. So folks called us up, and we've been trying to nurse him back to health. And initially, we weren't quite sure what happened to him. We knew he was really, really skinny, and that it looked like something tried to make a meal out of him. So we were trying to fatten him up and get him ready to be released back to the wild. And his wounds were healing really well, and he'd started to put on weight. And then somewhere in the middle of the time that we've had him, he started to lose weight, despite eating tons and tons of food, everything we were providing him. So we made the decision to send him to the wildlife clinic at Cornell Veterinary School. And they did a full workup on him. They checked his blood work, and everything seemed pretty good. But what they did notice was that he had some arthritis in his knees, in his knee joints, and his back legs, and maybe a little bit in his spine. So what we think happened is that he's actually an elderly guy. I initially thought maybe he was a young one because he was kind of small and thin, but looking at those x-rays, we think he's just an old guy, probably slowing down a bit, not as able to get food on his own, and something tried to make prey out of him. We don't know what, but at this point, his wounds are fully healed, but he's still pretty skinny. We're trying to see if we can offer him some different foods with a higher fat content. He's eating something called rodent pellets now, which are a little higher in fat, so we're hoping to put some weight on him and still maybe release him, but we're not so sure. It really depends on how he does. Like I said, he's still kind of a skinny guy, and we don't want to put him back out in the wild like that. So I thought I'd come here today and just give a little update on how he's doing, and just show you, because beavers are really amazing animals. They are North America's largest rodent. So they're related to mice and rats and squirrels. They, as most of us know, like to eat trees and tree parts. And you can see he's kind of made a bed out of all the debris that he's previously chewed on. He's been eating a lot of birch trees and maple trees. Earlier in the season, he really liked raspberry twigs from raspberry bushes. And he's been turning his nose up at fruits and veggies, but we're still trying. And beavers are really important animals in our habitat here in the Adirondacks. They create, really great diverse habitat by damming up streams, creating deep ponds. It's home to a lot of fish, insects, birds, all kinds of things will use the habitat that beaver create. And they're pretty strategic about where they create those dams. So they're just fascinating animals. So we really don't know how old this guy is. He's probably maybe 10 years old or maybe a little older than that. We're not really sure. It's hard to tell. And he, so far I've asked him and he doesn't want to share his age. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them in the comments below. And an interesting fact for you, beavers have a scent gland that produces kind of a musky substance. It's a little sweet smelling. And that is used in a lot of perfumes, things that are perfumey, so perfume itself, deodorants, cleansers that have smells. I don't know the history of how someone figured that out, smelled beaver gland substance and decided to use that, but it's used as a base in a lot of nice smelling things. If we had smell-o-vision, I don't know how to describe that smell. It's kind of sweet and woody. It smells like plants a little bit. So it's not terrible. And he's doing what they do a lot during the day. They spend a lot of time sleeping during the day. They're mostly active later at night. Thanks, Dawn. We're trying. We don't actually do a lot of rehab here at the Wild Center. Unfortunately, we're really space limited and staff limited. We have about 300 animal ambassadors that call the Wild Center home, and there are 4 of us that take care of all those animals, so we do make exceptions occasionally. Last summer, we raised a couple river otter pups, which if you're interested in hearing more about that, we did lots of videos last summer. You can find them on our website, wildcenter.org. So we're kind of uniquely set up to take care of otters, and in this case, a beaver, but we don't tend to do a lot of rehab here on site. We wish we could do more. If only we had more staff and funds and building space and all that stuff. And he's just gonna take a snooze. It's a nice time of day to take a little snooze. So thanks everybody for joining us today and for supporting us. Your support, even when you're watching our videos, is super important to us. We love having you along with all the cool stuff we do. If you come on site, we are open 7 days a week right now, 10 to 5. You do need to make reservations ahead of time, so buy your tickets online. Just a little easier to do. And we will be grand opening the building, the interior of our museum building, on July 1st. And stay tuned. We'll be bringing you more great content. So again, thanks for joining us today and for all your support throughout this past year in our digital programs, and we will see you next time.